सहनौ सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। As we said last time, we will have question and answer sessions. There are quite a few interesting questions, and I guess we'll deal with them, all of them, one by one. And here is one from Canada. There are two questions. The first is, Ishvara is all-pervasive and has all the knowledge and is free from all the limitations, whereas we as an individual, as a jiva, our capacities, our power, our knowledge is very limited. Therefore, how can jiva be the same as Ishvara? This is I've been talking for last 3 years. Anyway, second question is, please explain what is the Vedic vision of life. What I mean is, how do we samsaris or worldly people determine that we are deserving or adhikari of this knowledge of self? If not, how to become adhikari and how to gain this vision? See, we start with the second question first. Then I'll come to the first one. The Vedic vision of lay of life. Rather than that, let's talk about Vedic vision of the truth. Vedic vision is that you should become free. You have all the potentials, all the capabilities, all necessary qualification to be free. Now the question comes, what do I mean by freedom? See, Veda, there's a unique aspect of our dharma. It doesn't give us some vision hereafter, or it doesn't give a vision of its own. Vedas are giving vision of yourself. They don't say go to heaven and go to God and do this and that. No. He says, what is your problem? The fundamental problem of a human being in Hindu Dharma is ascertained, discerned very clearly. Human being means, as Swami would say, anybody having a head over a shoulder. The others have a head parallel to shoulders. Therefore, our animals are called Tiryak. Look at the birds, look at the animals, lions and all that, and look at the aquatic animals. Their head, digestion and excretion are almost in one line. We are vertical. That means there is a head, means there is a buddhi. Because of that buddhi, there is self-consciousness, self-awareness. There is self-awareness to develop conditioned or considered opinion about myself. Who am I? One thing. That kind of self-awareness is there with animals. But their awareness is confined to, it's limited to survival. They know what should I eat and what I should not eat. They know from whom should I be afraid of and from whom I shouldn't be afraid. They know with whom should I be in a company of and with whom I should I be not. That's all they know. Nothing more than that. Human being has an opinion about himself or herself. That is bondage. Please understand this. When I say you have to be free, we are not talking of some imagined moksha or going to some loka, goloka and saket loka and brahma loka. No, no. That in my opinion about myself, or if I use this word, in my self-estimation about myself. What is my self-estimation? What is my self-worth? What is my self-evaluation? There is one thing universal about oneself is, I am dukhi. Not simply dukhi, I am maha dukhi. And they come and tell me also, Swamiji, you don't know how much I am suffering. As though, and I feel there is no problem. You see, and they think they say, you don't know. They start with that. How much problem? They just casually ask them, hey, you don't look well. Hope everything is well. No, nothing is well. I said, I heard that you had a good business and in spite of this corona, you did well and then your son got admission in this medical. But still you don't know, Swamiji, how much I am facing. That's all it is. Yes. Last time also I had told in Gujarati class. Think of a day. See the human problem. Think of your whole biography. Right from childhood, the day you were a toddler onwards, you gained some self-awareness, self-consciousness. And tell me, were there 24 hours in your life when you were absolutely happy? There are always something nagging in the mind to make you feel that you are unhappy. Only the objects changed. People changed. Situation changed. But the basic feeling that I am not okay, everything is not well with me, continue. As a child, I am not okay because I don't have certain toys. As a child, I am not okay because dad didn't take me to this place and mom didn't give me this and like that. Something went wrong. As a teenager, I am not happy because in between, before teenager, childhood, I am not happy because I didn't do well in my games. I lost my games to my friends or I lost in my school or college, by these marks. As a teenager, I was not happy because I didn't have certain cosmetics. I wanted dresses and mom didn't give me, or my friends don't talk to me. Nowadays, it is breakup and makeup is going on, I'm not happy because of breakup. then you have a question, when it was made up, that is the first question. Oh, 3 days ago, that's fine. Then new makeup, then new breakup. Something or other. Having finished the study, I am not happy because I didn't get a good job or good money or something. Having had the money, see, we always think, listen this sentence, I am unhappy because of few have-nots. Have-nots keep changing. And I am unhappy because of few haves. More so in relationship. I am stuck with this person, stuck with this boss, stuck with this colleague, stuck with this office, and few things here and there. Never ever there were 24 hours clean. I have made it, a feeling that I have made my life. Sense of self-contentment, self-satisfaction. If nothing is there, then there is a problem with the look. It starts in the morning itself. You should see the people when they do brush. All kinds of faces they make and all kinds of complaints they have about the color of the skin and the nose. And then those days only this hair was a problem. Now this hair also is a problem. This is a modern problem. The cosmetic industry have added to this hair also. In relation wise, achievement wise, knowledge wise, I am unhappy. That is the problem. I don't have enough to make me successful. That is the problem. So Veda doesn't give you goal of life. Veda just explains or helps you to see what is the goal. We are exactly like Bala, children. A baby of 3 to 5 years keep crying and sometimes they do tantrums. Father or elder sometimes don't understand. Mom knows, baby is tired, let me put him to bed. Don't give him anything to eat, don't give him anything to play. Toddler himself does or herself doesn't know what's my problem. That problem is clearly stated. That is, I want to get rid of dukkham. Not dukkham. Please listen this. I think I am dukhi because of this car. I think I am dukhi because of this family. I think I am dukhi because of this job, because of this house. No. The sense that I am dukhi is a fundamental problem. I want to get rid of a sense of being unhappy centered on I. That is the problem. That is there with everything. Like a typical Indian thinks. I mean, they used to think those days, no more. And there are very few thinking, if I go to US, I'll be happy all the time. I know so many who went in 70s and 80s and 90s, and they were jumping when they got the visa or something. And then they landed, and the first letter was, I am back in heaven. Then they discovered India is better. And therefore they have a double feeling. I want to come back, but I don't want to give up America. Everywhere the thing is same. Only thing is there's a few changes here and there, cosmetic changes takes place. That is the goal of life. And Vedic vision of your life is that may you be free, discover the freedom. No religion talks this. They are all promising something hereafter. They don't say that you will be. That is a promise, belief, and that too non-verifiable beliefs. That you will have eternal dinner with the God, or there will be hurrahs in Jannah, and then you will have married and things like that. But I tell you, I had told earlier also, you just need a human mind to be unhappy. Even in heaven, the fellow will be unhappy. Why that fellow is sitting ahead of me, or he has a better car than me? Even, I tell you, that the first lady of US, they always spend some millions of dollars to change the interior of the White House. You are in White House, starting your career as a professional, in 2-bedroom apartment or a house, and gone into White House with all that power and bodyguards, but still unhappy because I want change. So, Veda discerns this problem and says one more thing. Hey, you don't have to do anything to be happy. You need not restructure your surroundings. You need not restructure your relationships. You are happy. In spite of situational unhappiness. in spite of external unhappiness. That is the vision. And to gain that vision, that means Veda says problem in life is not of haves and have-nots. Problem is of self-ignorance. And any problem of ignorance can be solved by knowledge and nothing else. Nothing else will help you to solve that problem. So you need self-knowledge. One needs self-knowledge. Like any other knowledge, self-knowledge necessitates certain qualifications. If I want to study medicine, especially post-graduation class, I want to become specialized in general medicine. What is your graduation? Oh, I am BA with sociology. I may take admission. Happens to be a son of a rich father, a political clout, and start attending the class. I may understand only if this, what, therefore, how, not, etc. No terminology will make any sense to me. I have to have MBBS minimum to understand what the professor is talking about. Similarly, for this knowledge, you require a mind which is grown up. You have to grow psychologically. You have to grow emotionally and cognitively both. A matured person is qualified for this knowledge. Why? It will not be fruitful. Like my studying medicine will not be fruitful because I don't have necessary preparedness. So also this knowledge will not make sense even if there is one of the best teacher teaching. And what is maturity? That we have seen earlier also. Emotional and cognitive maturity. Cognitive maturity is to understand certain facts. Understand the fact about karma yoga. Understand the fact about Ishvara. Understand the fact about your possessions, your pursuits. And to be objective is emotional growth. I conduct objectively. That is called Vairagya. Human problem is of subjectivity. Each one of us have a picture of successful living. I am, and I strive for that in terms of my values, my attitudes, my possessions, my goal, my relationship. Each one has. And I want others to fit into that. And when they fit in, then I feel I am successful. This never happens. We have to completely restructure that thing, the blessed thing, and see the things factually. Exactly like when a person relative, when a person goes to a doctor, doctor is generally objective. But when it comes to his family, he will not operate. He will take to his friend. Subjective. About money, value for money is subjective. Value for house is subjective. Value for car is subjective. I live objectively and I have a proper understanding about my possessions. Technically, dharma, artha, kama, that is growth. Then you are fit, ready for this flight of discovering Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. I am happiness. It's okay. All limitations and all unhappiness is incidental. Listen this sentence clearly. When I say you are Ananda, Shastra doesn't promise that you are Ananda and the whole world will change. No, it will be as it is. Nothing is changed. The way you look, nothing. Eyes will be eyes and ears will be ears and skin will be skin. You will feel heat and cold. You will, it is like saying, somebody asked Swamiji, Swamiji, are you a Brahmagnani? He said, yes. Then why do you have a heart attack? He says, because I have a heart. Heart has an attack, not me. It is incidental. Exactly like we have said, playing the role. Actor crying on the stage is incidental. Actors laughing on the stage is incidental. Actors begging on the stage is incidental. Actors' kingship on the stage is incidental. And when it is incidental, I will use this word, you have a space within. Actor has a space within. In spite of crying, the fellow is laughing himself. That is akarta. One of the question is that, how do I be akarta? And what is akartatva? Lack of doership is that doership, that beggarness is incidental. I am wearing the role of a beggar, dress of a beggar and playing the role. I have to do that. A wise man knows I am playing a role of a husband or a wife or a son or a daughter or a brother or a sister or CEO or a work officer, whatever it is. It is incidental. Let there be problems. In fact, just little additional wisdom to you. This is the message of our Bhagavan. When Lord Bhagavan incarnated as Rama and Krishna, he gave enough proof that I am omniscient and omnipotent. Sarva Shaktiman aham asmi. Sarvagna aham asmi. To lift Govardhan on little finger is not little baby scale. It is a job. He did it. See, it was enough to prove that he is all Shakti. Enough to prove that he killed all the demons. But did you notice one thing? This is where we slob over. This is where we don't see the things. He also had situational problems. So much so that he had to run away from Mathura all the way to Dwarika. People living in Gujarat or people living in my city, which is hardly 180, 200 kilometers away from Dwarika, they hardly go there once in a decade or sometimes after 2 decades. That is also far today as if from those days. And then he moved with the lock, stock and barrel and the whole village. Because he knew he can run away, but that Jarasandha will not leave his kin and relatives. He will finish them off. He moved away. He also had a problem. Who didn't have a problem? He also had a problem. Even when he was the king of Dwarika, somebody impeached on him that he has stolen that Samantak money. And the first kidnapping of a son in the history of the world, because certainly Bhagavatam was much before than Jesus Christ. First kidnapping of a wife was in Ramayana, and first kidnapping of the son in his Bhagavatam. That we have a very famous story of Okha Haranam. That Okha kidnapped his son Aniruddha. He had his own problem. Who doesn't have? And they say in psychology, life is never black or white, it is always grey. It is, listen this. In fact, though I have been using this word problem, there is no problem. It is a difficult situation. Subjectivity makes it problem, and further subjectivity converts it into crisis. It's a situation to be dealt with. But you have a subjectivity inside, it may be crisis for one. Even in a family, some people are given to anxiety and worry and stress. And any change, what will happen, what will happen? And this, the husband or a son or will say, come on mom, shut up, it's okay, we'll face it, forget it. It's problem, it's okay, but don't get so hyper about it. But they get it. And anxiety and stress, by the way, is very contagious. They disturb other person. I've seen guys, even some of our acharyas, some of our Swamis are there. They keep traveling, and so I am so used to be on the dot on the time. And as you say, touch wood, I have never missed the flight. In my lifetime, so much travel, just twice I missed. Once because of Shankaracharya and once because of my secretary writing the wrong date and I missed it. I never missed the flight. So I go on a time. They get so hyper. You know, you have to reach before 2 hours and blah, 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 blah. They said, keep quiet, nothing is going on. Even if it happens and even if you miss it, there is a next flight, we'll get it there. The anxiety and stress is contagious like COVID-19. The other fellow is relaxed. No subject, it is no subjectivity. He knows this is how it is. Coming back to this, Bhagavan also had people in his life who didn't like him, literally tortured him, right from childhood. And even when he became a king of Dwarika, which was said to be made up of gold, there was Shishupala. Kept on censuring, it's okay. Even Bhagavan faced it. You face it objectively, it is part of it. Exactly like you cannot have any metro in road which is free from traffic. You cannot, they make all these cars, especially the high-end sedans, which can run 240 kilometers, 160 miles, and you pay through your nose for that. But in metros like Ahmedabad and Delhi and Bombay, hardly you can move the car to third gear, not even more than 30 kilometers per hour. You go hardly 50 meters and suddenly brake and it is slow. Life is like that. Face it. That is the vision. You are Ananda in spite of dukkha. The oneness in spite of duality. We are not talking of non-dual world by dissolving everything and making a lump. In spite of duality, there is non-duality. That is a solution that is called self-discovery. For that, in one sentence or in one word, the way of life, or what you have used the right word, the vision of the way of life is just one. You commit to your duty. Hindu culture is a duty-bound culture, duty-based culture. Modern cultures are right-based culture. Everybody demands the rights. Rights are emphasized more than the duties. In the name of freedom, human rights, human freedom, they think duty is a constraint on your freedom. To commit to certain duties, that means dharma. To commit to dharma, that means you are restricting or restraining your freedom, which is your fundamental right. That's not true. I'll not get into that discussion because it's not a topic. But one word, the vision of the way of life is you commit to duty so much. In Indian culture or Hindu dharma, marriage is for duty. Therefore, there is a word dharma patni. The person is marrying to fulfill the duties. In other words, what is the way vision of life? Especially more so with people like you who are living in a Western world. And when the family is missing, so I accept the government duties. You don't have, in terms of obligation, in terms of the rules of driving and paying the tax, there's not much of a societal duties available. In other words, the vision of the way of life is live a contributory life. Live a life of giving. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya deyam, riya deyam, shriya deyam, viya deyam. Contribute, give. How much? Till it pinches you. I have to get out of my comfort zone to give. Please don't misunderstand. I am not talking of giving money. Giving time, giving skills, giving your context, giving your power. Use it for others. Live a sharing life. That is the vision of life. That's what was inculcated in our culture right from childhood. Even today, in the villages is there, but in city, most of the mothers will tell the baby, go and give this first roti to Go Mata. Go and then give this grains to birds. Birds feeding is there. And feeding is there in our culture. Give. Taught to give. A child comes and a guest comes with a baby, and then baby is playing. Mother tells, baby, share the toys with another baby. No, mother will say, no, you can't do this. It doesn't behoove of. ऐसा नहीं करना है, देना है, दे दो. That is vision of life, contributory life, giving life. Not I remain in my comfort zone and give whatever is extra. I give even if it pinches. That is the Vedic vision of way of life. Okay? Now, coming back to your first question, Ishvara is limitless. And how can I be Ishvara? True. You cannot be. That I, Jiva, is not Ishvara. But when we say you are Ishvara, it is from the fundamental point of view. Like even a wave cannot be ocean. But Miss Wave as H2O is Mr. Ocean. Fundamental. When wave says, I am only 20 meters long, 2 feet high, that I is centered on shape, on the form and the size. Moment that I is displaced from the form and the name to the content of it, it discovers I am one with Jiva. Jiva is one whose I is placed in the name and the form, means body, mind complex. I am man or a woman or young or old or Indian or American or Canadian or Brazilian or Argentinian or Japanese. This is body-wise. Displacing from there and placing it to the consciousness, that is, which is the very content of all these eyes. H2O is a content of all the waves. So from that fundamentally it is a ocean. Similarly, as consciousness wise, it is not a proper word, but to explain to you, I am Ishvara. But when a wise person says Jiva is Shiva popularly, doesn't mean he gains all the powers, doesn't mean he gets all the knowledge, doesn't think that he becomes all in capacity to move. No, it doesn't. The physio-psycho limitations will continue. Way of saying that I am ocean, that limitations will continue, but still it knows I am still an ocean. I may not have power of an ocean, but ocean says, I am ocean. That I is H2O actually. I is H2O. And then I am little wave, that also is H2O. So, consciousness wise, I am Ishvara. That is what the teaching of the Shastra is. Okay? And that you have to see it like a daylight as to how come I am consciousness. It is one thing to hear, one thing to repeat, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, etc. But to see it as a daylight, this is what I am. It requires a commitment to study Shastra. Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. And Bhagavan himself says in a course of time, after a long time, one discovers and places that I into that real, what is I? Okay. I have one more question. They had few, but this one more being a short, I'm taking it up. I heard someone saying, Sakam Karma Yoga. What is it? Which Shastra has reference to it? Nowadays, people like to coin words, as they call it, punchline, and then create a brand. They add an adjective. Karma Yoga is a punchline, is a Gita word. But to create a brand, they have some extra name, so and so Kriya. Kriya is from yoga, but then they say we do this Kriya and that Kriya. There is a brand. Similarly, it is another, anyway, I don't want to get into that. Karma Yoga is Karma Yoga. There is nothing Sakam or Nishkam. You need not qualify it by putting unnecessary adjective. Moment you say Sakam Karma Yoga, that means there is Nishkam Karma Yoga also. And fellow doesn't know what is Nishkam. He doesn't know Sakam. These are all jumble of words that people use. What is Karma Yoga? I request this person to go to YouTube channel and listen to Upadesh Saram talks, where I have just talked on Karma Yoga for 3 to 4 hours. Karma Yoga has nothing to do with action, though called Karma Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is a word they use, not understanding what is Bhakti. Bhajan is Bhakti, this is nonsense. This is all non-thinking. It's not Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is simple. And the essence of all the discussion, 4 lectures, is live in the awareness of Ishvara. Then only it becomes Karma Yoga. There cannot be Karma Yoga without being aware, living awarefully about Ishvara. As Swamiji would say, there cannot be secular Karma Yoga. There cannot be secular yoga also. Nowadays, yoga has been reduced to alternative therapy for keeping good figure and good health. So there can be secular yoga because yoga will limit to body. Yoga, you cannot have secular yoga. There is no secular karma yoga. To be karma yogi, let's accept the word as of now, one needs to understand certain facts. Listen this carefully. You need to understand certain facts about Ishvara, about karma and karma phala. Not the Ishvara sitting somewhere. Not the Ishvara in a given form, Rama or Krishna or Ganesha or Mataji or whatever you have, Ayyappa and Mariam and all kinds of that. Not that. The Upadana Karana Ishvara, the order that is Ishvara, that fact has to be seen. And when you see the fact, you live in the awareness of the fact. Now, please understand the word. As I have been telling, we are glossing over. Bhakti yoga, karma yoga. No. What do I mean by living in the awareness of it? Like this law of gravitation. Humanity understood this. So you live in the awareness. Not necessarily all the time gravitation. You conduct yourself in such a way that you don't hit the ground at 22 feet per second acceleration, full stop. It's awareness. You live in the awareness of COVID. Whatever precautions to be taken, you take it. By the way, you live in the awareness of the bacteria that are there in the hand. That means you always make sure to clean the hands before using it as a means to put something in the mouth. Full stop. Living in the awareness of Ishvara is an order, is a niyanta, is a niyati, as the laws that is functioning this and making a harmony. That makes you karma yogi. And you are aware while doing karma, therefore it is karma yoga. Karma yoga is not an yoga of action. It is yoga buddhi in action. And just to add little more, or to clear your confusion. That confusion may be confusion hai. Bhakti yoga is not going to temple and doing japa. It may be, but bhakti comes, the very word bhakti implies that you are aware of Ishvara. So karma yoga and bhakti yoga are not separate. Certain set of actions happen to be called as bhakti in a given culture. Going to temple is bhakti, singing bhajan is bhakti, doing mala is bhakti. In one culture, another culture, doing namaz is bhakti. That particular action is called bhakti. But that doesn't mean it is a bhakti yoga. Anything so-called bhakti, unless it is done in the awareness of Ishvara, it doesn't become bhakti. Like even in a big temples, they go to Tirupati, go to Gasiddha Vinayak. They have a staff of 800, 900 people. Now they are right in the vicinity of that Bhagavan to see whom people travel thousands of kilometers. They come all over the world and go there. When they come, they have awareness that I am going to see Tirupati, Tirumala, Venkatesha. When they come to Bombay, they have awareness, I am going to see Ganpati, Siddhivinayak. I know people in Ahmedabad and Baroda, they drive one day to Bombay morning and then have darshan and back to Ahmedabad. They are driving in the awareness of it. But that fellow sweeping the room or managing account, unless he conducts himself or herself in the awareness of Ganesha, Siddhivinayaka, he is not a bhakta. The classic example, which is painful to me, I held it, but I cannot hold anymore. A priest who is doing puja there may not be bhakta if he lives in the awareness of money, not Ishvara. I have seen some priests that who look forward to which the person has come. No, this is the rich guy, will give dakshina, they will give him prasad and talk to him and all kinds of things. And they will sit there and all the time watching who comes and who goes. He is living in the awareness of money, not Ishvara. Though he is right, the closest person to him is that Bhagavan. Understand? Bhakti also necessitates conducting myself in the awareness of Ishvara. There are not two separate things. So, whether you are Sakama or Nishkama, you are qualifying. Adjective comes to some object, noun. But please understand noun. If you understand the noun, adjective becomes meaningless. What is meaningless? You live in the awareness of Ishvara with kamna or without kamna. That's your choice. What makes you karma yogi is that. But as such, there is no sakama or nishkama. Shastric vision is not there. In the vision of Shastra, there cannot be sakam karma yoga and nishkam karma yoga. Karma yoga is karma yoga. Like some people qualify this, especially when you study Shastra or when you do satsanga, and when the person's conduct is not true to certain norms of the society, which Hindu society is a little ethical and then duty bound and all that. Or sometimes people themselves tell, they say he has intellectual knowledge, but he has no experiential knowledge. These are useless. There is no intellectual knowledge. Every knowledge is intellectual. That you have to qualify intellectual knowledge provided there is intestinal knowledge, provided that is liver knowledge, provided that is ear knowledge. Knowledge is intellectual. And experiential nonsense. Knowledge is always knowledge. There is no experiential. Experience doesn't give you knowledge. This is a saying. It is saying that experience makes the person wiser. Experience can make the person wiser provided one learns from the experience. And one can learn from one's experience and others' experience also. You don't need experience to learn. And in spite of having all experience, if you refuse to become wise and learn, you continue to be fool. That is called Rahul Gandhi syndrome. He has a world record of losing elections after elections, and party has come to an edge, but still doesn't learn certain things, make some senseless statement. Well, in American language, you can say Donald Trump syndrome also, that you don't learn from the experience. After this Twitter and Facebook, he wants to take them on legally. What is this? After relinquishing the presidentialship, the White House, having thrown out of the public, he didn't learn. There is no experiential knowledge. Knowledge is knowledge. So you don't qualify this by saying that there is a Sakama Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma. There is no such thing. Some may say, I don't know, but who said this? You have not mentioned. But you have to see the context in which the person is talking. And see the person whether he is sensibly talking or like this intellectual knowledge and experiential knowledge and all kinds of words are floating in the society. Similarly, they may use that, but doesn't make any sense. Karma Yoga is awareness about Ishvara, and Sakama or Nishkama is your mind, is related to mind, the state of the mind. Here I am talking about the awareness, whatever it may be. Doesn't bother, doesn't make any sense extra by qualifying Karma Yoga as Sakama and Nishkama. Okay, Namaste. There are quite a few questions. As of now, 11, and I have dealt with only 2 or 3. Hope to complete them tomorrow. Couple of them are just expressions of the discoveries. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.